Hi, my name is Ssega. I'm a musician and artist. Right now we're in the other place at the Royal Shakespeare Company in Stratford-Upon-Avon. I've just performed Assembled, which is the performance part of this installation and exhibition which I'm doing here as part of KYOTO conference, supported by Allianz Foundation because I'm an arts fellow for Allianz. So a town crier is somebody who'd go around and deliver the news. So they'd read something out and then post it to the wall. And I think that's really important just because the community used to come together to a square.
What binds us in this room? What keeps us on the floor? What moves us to the gantry? Tell me, is the earth ending soon?
So yeah, we don't need a town crier anymore, but we do need to come together in town squares and spaces, or maybe even theatres, which is why I'm here.
I've got a voice. Now you're here, look, you're listening. You're here, you're listening. But what makes me special?
And then we've got these amazing banners from renowned artist Ed Hall, who was an architect and then became a unionist and created great banners from Justice for Jean, Charles de Menezes, Stephen Lawrence to Haringey Miners Support and all these different groups. And so for Ed Hall to come and donate these, to bring them to Stratford-Upon-Avon, to show how art can be used to get a point across as well is fantastic. And then Hard Art, which is a collective of different artists, and they've made some banners such as "Come Together" with just big, bold words. And this is a chance to just hang them up here and inspire other people to come up with their own words, their own banners, and find a different way to paint a different future. The polling booth of the future is a collaboration with artist Thor McIntyre-Burnie, and it was really exciting just to say, how can we reimagine the voting process? So instead of just going and crossing a box on a piece of paper, what if we put a digital tablet there and we could actually ask questions of people and provide information? And luckily, Allianz Foundation, their research team, have this report called The Movers of Tomorrow, where 10,000 young people across 5 countries were asked how they thought, whether they were optimistic or not. So it was a good chance to actually provide some information, and then people can maybe have a more informed or reflective choice before they go and vote. And it's just beautiful to use art to bring that together.
What are the issues that you'd vote for? What would you put in your polling booth before it's too late? It's more than me, it's more than us. It's about the future.
It started with, well, a conversation with Ssega where we wanted to make a voting booth of the future and how could we kind of interpret that idea. And then working with Allianz Foundation, they were asking, could we make something that could tour around and could it fit in a suitcase? What about a bike box? And then I started thinking about bicycles and the idea of the future, that cycling is obviously a future that we should look towards. And the idea that being pulled in 3 directions at once, and thinking about the KYOTO protocol, how can you come to an agreement, and trying to embody some of the difficulty of consensus and the difficulty of choosing a direction to go. And at the moment these wheels are kind of set so they're cycling in 3 directions at once, but you could unpin them and then they'll naturally kind of go in circles. But if you want to move this structure, you can't move it on your own. You have to kind of have 3 people working together to steer each of the wheels, and if you all work together, it will move together. So they're divided into 3 booths like a voting booth is, but we've kept the panels clear, transparent, and I feel like we should be able to talk about what we feel and not have to hide in a booth and put a little thing down in a pencil. But then also what's happening with these iPads, working with Allianz Foundation, is they've been surveying young people around Europe and what their opinions are on the state of democracy and on the future. And they're asking visitors questions, but after every couple of questions, you're seeing the results of what young people have responded to the same questions.
What are we voting for? Should it be more exciting? Imagine a polling booth that you can cycle away on like greased lightning. But which direction? A, B, or C? Do we all get on? Do we go in a circle? Or is it just a case of, come on, follow me?
I think if the polling station in my local town looked like this in the next election, it would make it a lot more interesting for people to come. It gives you something to do while you're there, especially if there's a queue. It just makes it a lot more fun.
If I was Prime Minister, one of the things I would tackle is housing, and social housing especially.
When I hear young people speak about the future they want, I find it compelling, and I generally find it really rooted in social justice and a commitment to a fairer society.
In 10 years, the society that I would like to live in has equality, equal pay, everyone feels supported by each other, and it's just a a nice environment where everyone feels safe.
I think one of the things that art and creativity can do is change the way that we interact with systems. How do we gather information, but also how do we share information? And that's hopefully what's going on here, is a kind of way of looking at that process.
As an artist from the UK, from London, I think it's great to be a fellow of Allianz Foundation based in Berlin, because the biggest thing that's happened to lots of people in my generation is, of course, Brexit, which is splitting us from the nearest neighbours in Europe. And just getting the fellowship from Allianz Foundation in Berlin shows that they're still willing to invest. And when arts funding has been massively cut in this country, I think it's important to have foundations doing that, and then it's important to show solidarity through arts across the continent, because our big issues of climate change, we can't fight them by ourselves.